Good morning, Sarah Heflin.
Good morning, Nancy Rommelman. You know what happened this week?
I do not know what happened this week.
The crazy train left its final station.
Yeah, if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, yes, it did. I don't know if it's its final station, but it
I'm
certainly.
talking about Ozzy Osbourne, silly.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
Sorry, you were talking on
That's
Twitter about how much you loved Ozzy Osbourne. I thought maybe you'd get the song, you'd get the
no.
reference to Crazy Train.
I am not. I am not a big. The crazy Ozzy Osbourne story for me is that in 1970, my mother had a pretty new 8-track player, and she must have gone to the record store and said to the guy, "Hey, give me like the top 10 whatever." And he gave her, I guess, his two choices, one of which was the Black Sabbath 8-track Paranoid, which is not in my mother's lane, but it was something that was there when I was a kid. So we listened to it like we're like 8 years old listening to Ozzy Osbourne. I don't think my mother ever listened to it again. But yeah, so that's my Ozzy Osbourne story. Sorry, it's not that I'm like a big Ozzy fan, but I have to say, I was a fan of who he sort of the persona he just
Yeah.
was, like that crazy Osbourne show, and just like he was himself, just like
There was a cute video of, I think it was George Bush talking about like at the correspondence dinner, the second George Bush saying like, all these fancy people are here. And then he's like Ozzy Osbourne, and Ozzy like stands up in the audience, kind of looking like an adult, he's like,
It's
you know,
me.
he was like cheers for himself and everybody explodes, he's such a, he was a gentle
Yeah,
nerd,
yeah,
which was fascinating because I grew up in the 80s when he was really in his dark provocateur phase. And so, there were these tales of biting a head off a
yeah.
bat on
On
a
stage.
stage.
Yep.
He peed on the Alamo very famously here in Texas. Although, the Alamo has forgiven him. The Twitter account for the Alamo sent out its condolences. So.
Oh, and did you know also that Pee Wee Herman's bicycle is going to be now enshrined at the Alamo, the one that
I
he rode
did
in
see that. You
Pee
can
Wee's Big
tell they're
Adventure?
losing tourists because they're like, we need those
We
Gen
need Ozzy. We need
Xers
Pee
and
Wee.
below.
We need the bat head biters and the public masturbators. Bring them in, man. We got to get them. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So I want to say something. And you keep telling me I can't say it, and I'm going to say it anyway.
I say it.
Okay. We have a Zoom meeting a week from Sunday. I'm just kidding. You did not tell me I couldn't say that. I
I know.
was
It's like
trying to
what?
build stakes. I was
Okay.
trying to build up
Okay.
dramatic stakes for our listeners.
It was a little foreplay there.
Absolutely. A little diddle.
Little diddle. Dee, dee, dee,
Don't do
dee.
that thing. You do that thing. You did
I'm
that
sorry.
when Matt was on, and it makes me blush because I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing right now.
But I like it.
Okay. So I just don't trust us to mention this next week
This is true. This
because
is
I'm
true.
traveling to New York.
That's right.
I'm coming up to see you, or
Mhm.
I'm coming up to stay at your house, at your
Yes.
apartment in Chinatown.
Yes.
I don't even think you're gonna be
I'm
there.
not going to be there. I mean, we might interface, but we're actually, yeah, I'm not going to be staying there when you're there. I will not be.
That's great. I'm gonna
No,
I'm
you
gonna
do it,
bring
man.
up like cabbies and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We're gonna party
Yeah.
like it's
Do
2006.
it. Don't even change the sheets, whatever.
Mm, gross. I'm not doing that with the cabbies. My mom listens to this. I would never do that with cabbies in my sobriety.
No, I know. Yeah, so we will. So it'll be Sunday. I don't know. I think I'm going to be in a hotel. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll
be
probably
there.
be at Nancy's place. Nancy will be in hotel number
Yeah, yeah.
5022.
No, actually, that's the third, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
You're going to be back in New York.
No, ma'am. I'm flying back on Monday.
Right. So you'll be in New York.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to you again.
I might be upstairs. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we might be in the same room. I mean, let's not get
Diddle,
crazy.
diddle, diddle.
Dee, dee, dee,
Diddle,
dee,
diddle, dee, 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 dee,
dee,
dee, dee, dee.
dee. Oh,
Dee, dee.
good morning.
Oh my gosh, you know what? If
What?
we made out on YouTube, we
No,
would get
no,
so many
I,
subscribers.
you know,
Nancy!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen,
Nancy,
listen. What did
I am a really good kisser.
I believe you? I have to just say, this is a true story. I was sitting with Barry Weiss and Nellie Bowles once a couple of years ago, and Nellie turned to me and said, "You are the straightest girl I
Yeah.
have ever met." I'm sorry, I got no room for the ladies, man. It just doesn't work for me.
I got to message Kat Rosenfield. Hold on just a second.
See if she's going to give you.
She needs to earn that kimono. That girl looks smoking on I don't know, she was on like Billy Bush's show or something
Yeah.
like
No,
that. That
she
was
always
so
looks.
random.
I'm going to be seeing Kat tomorrow, as a matter of
Okay,
fact.
we'll ask her if she'll make out with me on
I will.
YouTube
I
to
will.
boost our
I
subscribers.
will make that note right now in my notes. So, yeah, hey, man, anything, right? Smoke them if you got them. Okay. So, it is Thursday morning, I believe. And I had a meltdown yesterday. I had an actual physical meltdown
You're
in rea
hyperbolizing.
well, I'm not. I was crying
What?
yesterday. Oh, I didn't tell you. We didn't get to this point, over that story this story we're gonna talk about. Yes, I had an actual crying, anger, frustration that you we Matt and I had lunch, and I cried at the table
Huh.
over this story we're gonna talk about. And
Wow.
that's when you said the train has left the crazy train has left the station. I was like, yeah, that's right. This whatever this is that we've been doing and talking about for the past however many years here, in terms of the marital relations, heterosexual relations, dating, all this
It's
stuff.
romance, but it's especially between men and women.
Yeah,
Really that Venus Mars thing.
right. The things that, well, I guess that's right. That what was that? What were those books? Were like 30 years ago now. Men are from
Yeah, men are from
Mars.
Mars, women are from
Yeah,
Venus.
I never read any of them, but they were.
Somebody gave me one once when I was traveling in Ecuador. I found it useful.
Oh, I did. It was obviously massive. I mean, these books were
Oh my god, it was massive.
incredible, and I think they were probably like, and then the Mars and Venus cookbooks in your calendar, and like it was a whole industry, a cottage
Full on.
industry. Yeah,
That guy was on, I wanna say his name was John Gray, and he was on these, like, speaking tours, and he was, like, $30,000. I mean, he made bank with
yeah,
this thing, and the simple idea was simply that men and women are sort of genetically from two different temperamental spheres, and their expectations and behaviors can often look like they're warring, but it's really just two languages they need to learn how to speak. Okay. So it and I remember that book being kind of derided by feminists in the in the early aughts when I became editor of that everyone's favorite lady blog broadsheet that nobody remembers, but
such a
I did
great
it for
name.
many years.
Yeah,
And they would some of the women would kind of take shots at the men are from because the idea was like, oh, we're not that different. We're not really from different planets. And so this is one of the challenges of kind of something like men are from Mars, women are from Venus becomes so popular that then you overcorrect and you start going like, oh no, we're not that different. We're just samesies. It's all the same. And then you're ending up in the emergency room like, well, why didn't you tell me you had a uterus? Oh, well, you didn't ask. I mean, it's like really crucial differences between the sexes. So anyway, this was, I think, did I foist this upon you?
well,
I think I
you
sent it to,
did.
I saw Matt. No, I know it entered my group chat, my Megan Down group chat, where the ladies were saying, basically, what is this? And the story is called "The Trouble with Wanting Men."
Hmm.
Okay, and it's from the New York Times Magazine. By the way, did you
Yeah,
realize it was from the magazine?
I, I yes, I
Where they
do.
have a much higher bar for publication and have a much more rigorous editing process. You guys have to watch this on YouTube because Nancy is doing all
I
these like
I'm
she's like
flabbergasted.
miming all this pain and grief and
Confusion,
disbelief.
just absolute like confusion.
Yeah.
Yes, well, let's just say, listen, I saw it. I saw people talking about it on Twitter, but I didn't click on it. We've had so many of like, what's wrong with men and men can't talk and
Yeah, we've
this and
talked
that.
about them.
It's just been like on and on. I was like, really, one more of this? And then you said, listen, I think we should probably read this. So it is called The Trouble with Wanting Men. The author's name is Jean Garnett. And I read about, oh, I don't know, the first like two sections. And I texted you and said, I am truly not, no hyperbole, I'm having a difficult time reading this because I feel as though I don't understand the language. And I was like, but that's not exactly right, because I do understand language. But the way she was formulating it, it was like a math equation. Like you have to, here's the problem and you have to get the solution. But I didn't know the computational steps. And I truly,
Because
I had,
Nancy's from Mars,
and
Jean Garnett is from Venus.
right. And I kept rereading it to try to get there. And then I got to the end of like this second section. And I was like, this is, I, I feel like the crazy train has left the station. I feel like we're
Yeah.
in an entirely another, we've gone way past the stories we've sort of been discussing lately. She is really, really playing out the string. And it was, wow, I have some things, I have some thoughts. Let's put it
So,
that way.
yeah, that's a good starter for us. So, I think one thing to say is that that I am going to read you. I just want I want, if you haven't
Yes.
read this story, and I'll bet a lot of people haven't, because I know for myself, I think a lot of the response, and I was doing this in the group chat. A lot of the response was just based on the headline alone, "The Trouble with Wanting Men." And this happens a lot. Is these stories go viral without many people even
Yeah.
bothering to read them. You're responding to what you assume they are and whatnot. Um, so the subhead is, women are so fed up with dating men that the phenomenon even has a name: heterofatalism. So what do we do with our desire? So interesting. I mean, this is written with the assumption that we're women. What do we do with our desire? Not like, what did they do with their desire? It's like, oh, all of us, the women reading this New York Times Magazine story.
That's right. The people who are at the center of needing to solve this problem that parenthetically that they created.
So, is it okay if I just read a little bit of this? And by the way, when I opened this up, and it always has, the New York Times has a little like module that asks if you want to listen to it, and it said listen 35 minutes. I was like, what the fuck?
It's incredibly long. Apparently, in the print edition, our friend Ben Price said it's 14 pages. It is a very long article, and it's a very long article that covers like it's sort of endless. But yes, I think you should read it because I think it's going to give a taste of how she's presenting this issue here. So,
The stranger arrived at the bar before I did, as I intended him to, and was waiting for me at a table in back. He had the kind of face I like, and he had been a little difficult to pin down, delayed in his responses, which I also like. The place was loud with the having fun sounds people make when they expect to have fun any minute now. So we were leaning in to hear each other. His hair, I thought, would be good to put my hands in. Now that's the first paragraph, and I have to tell you, Nancy, it's pretty straightforward to me. Although there's a couple of like, it's a little overly twisty, which I think actually got untwisted a little by my reading.
yes, definitely.
To
You
be
definitely,
honest with
yes,
myself, to congratulate myself for
you
my
should.
own audio performance.
I second that.
But that is just, if you do see it in print, there's a couple of like stutter stop moments where you have to kind of unwind the phrase, because it's, to me, this opening is actually fine, but it's trying a little too hard.
Yes. And I will also say that is the smoothest graph in the entire piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's it goes on from there. It becomes such a, you feel like you need a machete to bushwhack through the ideas and names and claims and feminist psychology and names for
Justifying the
things.
penis. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I want to just read a little bit more. I'm not
Yes.
going to read
Yes.
this whole
Yes.
goddamn thing. I
Oh
just want
God.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
opening,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, is instructive.
Yeah.
Okay. There comes a time, usually, when a few extra beats of eye contact are enough. We passed through those beats, took each other's wrists, and met across the table, which was wide enough to frustrate kissing in the right way, keeping the rest of us well apart. I'm going to pause here and tell you that sentence right there, I didn't understand. I lost the visual. It's moving pretty fast, and what I take from this to mean is that at some point they took each other's wrists, okay, and they kissed across the table. Is this when they just met?
See, Sarah, you see, she's already going places where she assumes we're going to completely understand that this is where you go. I'm just going to stop you for 1 second. And wait, actually, no.
No, I want you to tell me what it means.
It's sort of like if you're sitting with someone, I guess, that you like or flirt with, your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you're just like, you want to touch each other. So you grab each other's hands across the table and you want to kiss. But I mean, I've done this, like, but you have to like stand up and lean over the table to kiss them. And that's a little uncomfortable, especially if you've known someone for 15 minutes,
Well,
right?
that's what was so confusing to me is that this is very I've gone on a lot of dates and I've never kissed anybody when met them at a bar. And I also was very confused by the taking each other's wrists. It was just a strange bypass. Like if I saw you and we just like locked onto each other's wrists, I would be like, are you guys performing some sort of like challenge in Fear Factor? Like what's going on?
And now you're going to eat a bug. Um,
Yeah.
so, all right. So read the rest of that because I think
Okay.
we'll get to this and then we're going to unpack a few things here.
Back at my place, he was a little shy, I thought, or a little out of practice. But I felt he wanted me, which was what I wanted to be organized and oriented by his desire, as though it were a point on the dark horizon, strobing.
Okay. So,
Thank you. That was a little Cormac McCarthy, like a little, or like it was like a, a little point on the dark horizon, strobing was like,
if
she
I were an
just I
editor,
don't know. To me, it
I,
jumped out of nowhere.
it's
It was like Cormac McCarthy jumped out of the bushes and
I,
like put a bag over my head and was like, "I'm gonna be in this sentence." Okay, I'm gonna just keep going a little bit so that we can get to the bitch session with the girls.
yeah.
I was really looking forward to seeing you again. He texted me the following week around lunchtime. But I'm going through some intense anxiety today and need to lay low. Sad face emoji. Totally understand, I replied, but I didn't. Feeble, fallible, looking forward is not longing. A man should want me urgently or not at all. I was about to collapse into a ritual of frustrated horniness, fantasy, masturbation, snacks, when a friend urged me to join her and two other women for dinner. Of course he has anxiety, said one of them, a therapist who sat across from me at the restaurant. That's life. That's being alive and going to meet someone you don't know well. Yeah, said the woman beside her, a historian. It's called sexual tension. Stay with it for a minute and you might get some. They can't, said my friend with triumphant disgust. She told us about a woman she knew who was dating a man from another city. After weeks of saying, I can't wait to see you, the man ghosted her during his actual visit. His explanation later, he'd been too anxious. Aw, poor baby, cried the historian, and we all cooed and moaned for the poor, whittle, fraidy cat boo boo, working ourselves into a frenzy of laughter over men's inability to man up and expletive us.
I'm going to turn over the table. Like, seriously, I'm going to walk over to those women's table and just turn off the fucking table. Okay. I would like to just mention something right at the outset. You know why? Because she did. Here's how she opened this essay. The stranger arrived at the bar before I did, as I intended him to. Right away, She has rules. She has rules. She's thought about them. And you know what? That's not the only rule. There's a bunch of other rules. In fact, there's 14,672 rules, which she and her friends discuss. And then, because there's discussion, they multiply. And all of these rules and all of these hoops, these men need to jump through in an order that they have determined and will then redetermine maybe later because someone else read a different book that had a different thing about sexual pessimism and this and that. And they can't understand why the men are not getting it together.
Yeah, why aren't the men following the rules?
What the fuck is going on, man?
I know.
What's wrong with men?
What's the trouble with men? The trouble with wanting men. By the way, I thought this headline was too long by one letter. I thought it should have been called The Trouble with Wanting Me.
Oh. Hey, listeners in Listener Land, and for those of you on YouTube, maybe watching it, thanks for being here. This is the end of the free portion of this episode. If you would like the entire episode, gotta head over to Substack. That's smoke'empodcast.substack.com. Become a paid subscriber. Many ways to do that. You get the full episodes and you get some other niceties and et cetera and et cetera. And if you are over here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. We appreciate it. Tell your friends. Thanks.